Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And on this channel, we talk about everything crowdfunding, everything when it comes to Kickstarter, Indigo, launching a new e-commerce product. We also talk about Shopify, equity crowdfunding, etc. My interests obviously are quite extensive. And today I want to get into doing a subscription-based service when it comes to e-commerce. Can you actually use Kickstarter for this? Is this something that is possible? How could you even go about setting this up if you're trying to start a new subscription-based business? That is what I'm covering today. Okay, so you might have seen it because these things are all the rage. You've seen it all over the internet where people are starting subscription-based box services. So this is where basically a consumer, rather than just buying a one-off product, decides to actually subscribe to your service. Now, what kind of service could this be? This could be your shipping books on a monthly or recurring basis. This could be cosmetic items. This could be if you're into shaving, right? Or you're kind of like knickknacks or EDC products or whatever. Subscription-based subscription-based e-commerce is huge nowadays. And it's something where people just delight in being able to get new stuff on a recurring basis. So why continue to buy stuff from Amazon, right? When they can really just subscribe to a service and deliver those packages straight to their door. So you might have seen this opportunity, obviously. If you're watching this video, you might be like, dude, I wanna get in on this. I wanna be the one to be able to start sending those packages. And it's so attractive in my opinion, because it is recurring revenue. You're getting revenue on a recurring basis, and you have then a certain lifetime value of the customer. And whenever you have that kind of a business model, it is super profitable in the long run, because you can afford to spend more money to acquire a customer, knowing that they're going to be with you for such a long period of time and you have a really high customer value. So what I want to first get into is how do you actually start one of these, and also can you use Kickstarter for this? So I've had a few different coaching students who have done subscription-based crowdfunding products, and this is technically something that you can use Kickstarter for if you would like to. Now, there are some things you're going to run into when it comes to doing a Kickstarter campaign. I just want to kind of let you know about that before you actually go down this path. And if you've never done or even researched Kickstarter, Kickstarter is basically a platform that you can use to launch a whole new e-commerce business. And you can get funding for it. You can then ship out your products in the forms of perks or rewards. And it makes it really simple and kind of de-risk the entire process, because you're not just launching a website or something like that and trying to get traffic to it. Instead, you're launching a Kickstarter campaign and you're getting access to the entire community there. And that's why so many new e-commerce store owners who are coming up with their own products tend to want to use Kickstarter. Okay. So as it relates to doing a campaign, one thing that you should know about Kickstarter, the platform itself, is that you can sell products. You can allow people to pre-order products with the form of perks and rewards. However, you cannot have an ongoing transaction that is happening. So it kind of is a little bit different, not just because subscription-based, e-commerce or sending out boxes regularly, someone has to subscribe to that service, right? So how do you pull this off if you're doing a Kickstarter campaign? Well, one of the ways you can do it is to set a certain trial period where someone backs your campaign. Maybe they decide to get those subscription boxes for a period of 3 months at this particular bottom rate price, or this Kickstarter special price, or this early bird price, right? That's one way you could do it, or you could do it for 6 months at a time. What happens after the fact? Well, it's kind of using the platform to kind of validate the idea in general. And then if people actually are excited about it and they back it and they buy it, then at that point in time, you can then transition them to another platform or another way of actually handling that method of payment to allow the subscription to continue. So you would have to resell them. However, if they like what they've gotten in the last 6 months, let's just say, or they really enjoyed the products you've been selling them, chances are they're gonna wanna get more. So there will be a friction point. And I feel like that's probably one of the negative sides of doing a Kickstarter campaign for more of a subscription-based service, right? However, on the flip side, you then also don't have a lot of obligation up front. So unless the campaign gets funded, you don't have to move forward necessarily with that business idea. So for that reason, it can be a really popular way to start one of these subscription-based services. And also when it comes to other ones, I mean, there's a bunch of different interviews and episodes of my podcast where you can go and look at people that are doing campaigns, right? But one of the things you should be aware of is that when that friction point happens, you're then obviously going to have to sell them on the actual subscription and then transition them. So that's one thing you should be aware of. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. Now, the other path that you could go down if you wanted to, and you kind of wanted to bypass this, let's just say you already necessarily have validation for the product idea, right? You already have a good sense that there's going to be demand for this new subscription service, and maybe even already have an audience of some kind, like you're a YouTuber or a podcaster or something like that. It might be more interesting for you then to just go straight to e-commerce. Now, the biggest difference between e-commerce and Kickstarter is that there's shipping differences. So Kickstarter, the campaign ends, you maybe ship it out in 3 months time or 4 months time, right? There's that kind of grace period where backers are aware that this is a process that's happening and the creator's actually putting together these packages and will eventually send it out, right? With more of an e-commerce kind of store, doing a Shopify or something like that, people are going to expect it on their doorstep pretty soon. So it's much more of a business focused kind of a transaction. So that's the other route to go down, is to look into an e-commerce store like Shopify and to begin to think about the actual service that it is that you're providing. Now, I'll tell you about this. When it comes to online e-commerce and selling something online, the hardest part is not setting up the store. Obviously it's a lot, but it's not the hardest part, okay? Particularly with this type of business model. And I really want you to take this home. It's not gonna be the hardest part for you. In addition, if you know what you're doing, talking with a coach like myself, hiring a company like mine or something like that, you might then find marketing actually kind of easy. It's actually not super difficult, I think. You're selling something, you got to put out something attractive, you got to know how online marketing works, organic ads, viral marketing, Facebook ads, all that kind of stuff, Google ads, you got to know about that stuff. But eventually you can learn about it, or you can hire someone to do it for you. So that's also, to me, not a major thing. What I think is actually the hardest is figuring out the logistical component of a subscription-based service, right? So first of all, there's 2 ways to go about this. The first is to do it yourself. The second is to hire a fulfillment company or someone who can help you out. So the first way of doing it yourself, and again, this is probably, in my opinion, the biggest logistical nightmare of doing this. You first of all have to think through what's going to be in every single box. And you'd have to do that anyway for either route that you're going down. So you want to think through, okay, what are the different products that are going to be available? Are there going to be seasonal or year-related kind of things you're going to be including in that subscription, whether maybe it's a book around, let's say, Christmas time, or certain types of stories throughout the year, or if it's male grooming products, certain products that are maybe needed more in November, or a skin kind of moisturizer when it gets really dry in November months and that kind of stuff, December. Or it's going to be a different one during, when it's summer, maybe sharing skin tan lotion or a certain cream that has SPF in it that's going to make your skin better, right? So you can think a little bit about that and how that might change over time, but you should definitely break out the Excel spreadsheet and think about the different boxes that you might be including. And maybe it's also a mystery box service where people don't know necessarily what it is that they're going to be getting. So there's going to be a curation aspect. And that curation aspect can happen on Excel, Google Sheets. You can use a project management tool if you wanted to, like Basecamp, etc. There are a lot of ways in which you can figure that out, but that's more of an intellectual problem in my mind. Just kind of deciding that with your team or on your own. The next is actually sourcing those products, right? So where are you getting them? Are you producing them in-house? Are you getting it manufactured somewhere else, a third-party country? What is going to be the delivery timeline from that other factory or that manufacturer to get to you, and then for you to then pick and pack all of that into the packages, label them, and then ship them out, right? So that's going to be the other big supply chain issue, I would say, and thinking about a subscription-based service, because you're no longer just sourcing one product, you're sourcing a bunch of different products, right, that you're then bundling together into some kind of a package and then eventually sending it out. And what also happens based on demand, so throughout the year, you might have different products that you're including, so you're gonna need to source different types of products. So I would recommend, if you can, even creating necessarily a Gantt chart. So a Gantt chart maybe where it will show you the different products over time that you're going to be needing to source based on what you're going to be including in the actual packaging. And that can be kind of a more easy way to think about when you're going to have to start getting the sourcing for these different products. And at those different points in time, there also might be other costs related to getting those products to your country or to wherever the warehouse is that you're going to be doing fulfillment, different duties, things like that. Raw material costs might change based on world events. So to me, that's more of a logistical problem that you're gonna have to think through a little bit. Now, I really wanna get into what happens next. So let's just assume you've solved that problem. First of all, you got an incredible store or you did a Kickstarter campaign and it was a smash success because you followed everything I told you, obviously, in the Kickstarter launch formula, the book that I have out there on Audible and Amazon, or you took one of my free courses, right? So you've done everything right. And now you have all the products in their source. And like, Sal, I know exactly when these are gonna go out. I know what's gonna be included in every single box. This is so exciting. Next comes picking, packaging, and shipping, right? So this is really when you kind of have a fork in the road and you're like, okay, if I'm gonna do it myself, how would that look? So first of all, if you're doing it yourself, you're getting all the products shipped to you. Is it gonna be a warehouse that you have? Is it going to be in your garage? Where are you gonna be starting? Is it in your room, right? If you have a really small apartment or something like that, where are those products going to be shipped to is the first thing you wanna think about. Then, when all of the products come in, how are you going to delineate them? How are you gonna organize them? Are you gonna put them on different shelves? Are you gonna use some kind of a barcode system? Are you gonna think about the different SKUs? And then from those products then, when are you gonna fill those into the different boxes? Are they all gonna be the same for a particular month? Are you then gonna attach shipping labels to each of them and then customize that based on the customers and then send out the tracking information and the packaging, obviously, the inserts, maybe a marketing insert, right? So there's that physical legwork. And I would say if it's your first time doing it and you have a really small batch of orders, like I'm talking like 30 orders or something like that, max maybe 100, right? You might be like, okay, I can do this myself and I'm gonna learn the process of how to do it myself. The first time you do it, or the first time, let's just say your marketing works, which is the whole point of marketing, right? It works and you get this huge inflow of customers and tons of people that are checking out your store and then subscribing. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, right? Because I got thousands of people who are expecting this on a monthly basis. And then all of a sudden you're like, I have to spend so much time doing this. I have to spend all this time doing the fulfillment and the shipping and making sure the labels are right and doing this and doing that. And it gets to be a massive headache very quickly. So typically at that point in time, someone might decide to hire help and then you have to train that person. They might decide to enlist a friend or a family member. They might decide to bring on a partner in the business, or maybe they already have a partner. And for a certain period of time, maybe they're able to deal with that level of demand, but it keeps up, it keeps up, it keeps up, right? So because it's recurring. So you might also find that a lot of your time is being taken away as well from either running the business, doing the marketing, growing your sales, that kind of stuff. So at that point in time, I call that growing pains. You basically have growing pains in the business. And your decision then is, do I want to keep this a really small operation where I can't really afford to grow the demand because then it's going to, really just saddle me with all these orders and all this operation is going to go crazy, right? Or do I want to try to build a more scalable solution? And chances are, if you're watching this video, you probably want to have more of a scalable solution because you're attracted already to the subscription recurring component. So at that point in time, or even just earlier on in the process, I would really recommend building a solid relationship with a fulfillment company. Now, there are tons of fulfillment companies that are out there, and obviously you should do your own research, man. You shouldn't just take everything that I tell you, right? You should do your own research always. However, one of the companies that I've been working with for the last 8 years, that's a sponsor of my YouTube channel and my podcast, and they're super solid guys, is Fulfillrite, and I'll include a link down below if you're interested in learning more about them. So they've been seeing more and more people that are doing subscription-based e-commerce start to use their services. And it makes complete sense because they already handle all of that kind of stuff. They already can figure out all of the SKUs and the packaging and everything that you're gonna have to do. They can handle all of that for you. And it might eat into your margins a little bit, but that extra saved time and headache and worry then allows you as a business owner to put your full focus on just growing the heck out of your business. I'll tell you, anytime my focus is divided and I'm not fully focused on my business always is never gonna do as well as if I had 100% focus on it, right? So this is so important because then this enables you to hit those next levels. So when you have a system that's built where you're sourcing the products correctly, right? You got your marketing that's bringing in traffic and customers. You got your fulfillment company, which is trusted, and you've been working reliable, and any kind of returns also are being dealt with. You have the system and it's working. So then you can really pour gasoline on this fire and you can blow up your marketing even more, get more traffic, get more orders, and everything is gonna work seamlessly, right? And that's when you begin to see your revenue, even though maybe you sacrificed a little bit of a profit margin, let's just say, with working with someone, you then are able to grow that revenue and grow that revenue and grow that revenue, and the system can support it. So you could have kept the operation small, had maximum profits, right? But then you're kind of capped at your success. What real business owners and real entrepreneurs do, even look at like a Fortune 1000 company, a Fortune 500 company, right? They have so many people that are working, and maybe they only are making a certain profit margin that's maybe not as attractive to other people, but that comes out to be millions and millions of dollars because you're able to scale the operation, right? Or in big companies' names, obviously billions of dollars, right? The reason is that they have solid systems, which enables them to grow their revenue. So are you invested in creating those solid systems for your subscription-based business? If so, you wanna think out these different elements that you're gonna have to have. And like I said, you can do a Kickstarter, you can do marketing on your own. I promise you, eventually, if you work with someone like me, or you hire it out, or you do something like that, you're gonna get it right. At a certain point in time, you're going to get it right. Think about all of the exercise products, nutrition products, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, all the products that are being sold, and all of the marketers that are behind them. Everyone is winning. There is enough space in the industry for you, I guarantee it. It's not a question of whether or not you can be successful. The question is, can you handle that level of success? And if you're getting so much inflow that just saddling your operations, you can't handle the success, right? Because even if you were to get more subscription accounts, then you're not going to be able to fulfill those reliably. Customer service is going to suck. The operations is not going to be great. You're not going to be able to grow the business. So success is actually not about like finding this opportunity, right? Opportunity is abundant. Opportunity, there's so much opportunity internationally, in the United States, wherever you are. I promise you, there's always opportunity. The problem is creating an operation that allows you to capitalize on that opportunity in a larger way. And that's where success comes from. Success comes from being able to create that. And if you can't, then you're just gonna be the next person who spotted an opportunity, made a little bit of cash from it, and then had to move on to the next thing because you couldn't scale the business or you couldn't handle the level of work. So a smart person is going to think more about how can I handle that? How can I create these systems? And in that way, I can really magnify the amount that I capitalize on that opportunity that not just me, but so many other people have noticed already. So I hope that that kind of transition or that switch in thinking was useful for you, because this was going to help you just when you're going down this path and you already know what's around the next corner, the next bend, it's going to allow you to prepare for whatever that next thing is. And the more you can solve these problems as an e-commerce entrepreneur, the faster you are going to see success in this business. So I hope you liked this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Come subscribe, leave a comment down below. My name is Sal, and I'll see you next time.